friends, welcome to Think More. Today we are going to know about media writing. As you know, media is a very short term to a very big industry. So today in particular we are going to know about. So as we know, when we have mobiles, laptops, TV screens, etc., to know about news, still we want to open those crisp pages of the newspaper in the morning, and with the cup of tea we want to turn the pages of newspaper on and on. So in that newspaper, what is the very biggest thing which we all look for? Yes, you are right. That is editorial writing. So, first we are going to know about of a newspaper is a very important section of the newspaper. Why? It creates a perception in the human mind. Why? When the citizens are able to know about the information about a particular story, then they think what they should think about that story, whether that story is positive or negative, or in what angle that story should be thought. Editorial is that section which gives you a dimension to think about that story. So that's why editorial is a very important section of a newspaper. It creates a perception in the person's mind who is reading that newspaper, right? So creating a perception is a very big thing. Editorial is very important for a newspaper. Next comes ideology. Editorial is also known as a mouthpiece of the newspaper. Yes, if newspaper was a human being, then the mouth of that human being would have been editorial. So, editorial is not what the editor writes. Editorial is what the organization of that newspaper thinks or thought. Editorial is never been what the editorial as an individual thinks. Editorial depends on the policies of what that newspaper house, the media house that newspaper belongs to, depends on the policies. So an editorial is never been an individual's work. An editorial is always an organization's work which is penned down by the editor, right? So ideology plays a very vital position in the newspaper, which creates the perception in human mind. So next, as we know what is the importance and what it is all about, now it is important to know how to write an editorial. So before knowing how to write an editorial, we should know the parts of the writing of editorial. So let's begin with the parts. Editorial has three parts. Number one is intro. First, you need to write about the intro of the incident of which you are talking about. Then comes the body in which you will describe it about the incident in detail. And then there will be the last but not the least, the conclusion, in which you will suggest, you will give the dimension of the story, like in which manner the information or the story should be thought or think by the person. Now let us move on to our next segment, that is how to write an editorial, right? So before writing an editorial, you should think that it is how it is different from like if you are writing like if a normal citizen is writing about an information, and if a journalist is writing a perception of a story, and if a citizen is writing about a perception of a story, how it differs. So here is the difference and the third part of the segment, that is journalistic essay. Editorial is nothing but a journalistic essay. Why it is known as journalistic essay? Because the perception which is put in by the editorial is all written in facts. When they give the dimension to that story, whether it should be thought in a negative or a positive or in any manner, they always give it with the facts. So, editorial must be written in a humorous or in a sarcastic or in any manner, but those writing should be inbuilt with those facts. The facts has to be there. So a difference between a normal citizen writing about a story and about the view and a journalist writing about a story and the view is different. Because journalistic essay, that is editorial, is full with facts. That's why they are creating that perception. So before knowing about any story or giving any kind of dimension to that story, the editorial will help you to think with a logical and more in a factual manner. As information, that means facts, but delivered in a very humorous or in a very sarcastic manner. Use of we. In editorial, we basically see nothing is written on with I, like I think that, or I wish to think that, or I believe that. I is not used over there. You should always remember, before writing an editorial, you should think it is not an individual story. It is not individual's perception, which I have said in the beginning. It is a organization thought. So, instead of I, it is written as we. So, when you are going to write an editorial, you have to think, you have to use the word we, not I, right? Because it is not only an individual's thought, it is a thought of a team, of a news organization, right? Now, let us move on to a very interesting part. After knowing how to write, why to write, and what are the basics of editorial, now it is very important to know how many types of editorials are there. So let's move on the types. There are 4 types of editorial. Number 1, interpretative editorial. Interpretative editorial is such kind of editorial in which you have to interpret about the information, about the story of the incident, right? Suppose nowadays the lockdown is going around the world. So for what reason, where it is going around, what is the biggest cause, what is the outcome of this editorial, what will be the effect on, what will be the outcome of this lockdown, what will be the after effects of this lockdown. So in this manner, detail of each and everything about that incident has to be written in this interpretative editorial. Is criticism editorial. So what is criticism editorial? Criticism editorial, in that editorial you have to write the good part of the incident as well as the bad part of the incident, where you have to show the people, you have to focus the good part of the incident as well as the bad part of that incident in a unbiased manner, and then you can put the opinion of that story, of that information. That is known as criticism editorial. Number, editorial of appreciation. When we write anything appreciable, like suppose an incident has happened which is very which is very good, and suppose for an example, in this lockdown people are in their home, many our lower section of the society are not able to get enough amount of money to buy food. So if any people or if any government is giving free food to any people, or any police person is giving free food or anything, such kind of story needed to be get highlighted, and appreciation is needed, like a very back patting kind of story it is, right? So in this editorial we will appreciate the person, the incident, so that the other get inspired by it and try to do such kind of things. So the fourth editorial type is entertainment editorial. Yes, entertainment editorial is nothing but which is very soft in nature. It is not very hard news sort of thing. It is very soft news which is of human interest, and it is very light, and it energizes youth. Maybe something funny, or maybe something like suppose like Virat and Anushka had given donated the money for COVID-19, overcome of the COVID-19. So those kind of thing is very light, but it is very interesting, and it is youth catching kind of editorial. So this was all about editorial. Next we are going to know about obituary writing. Is a writing which is written by the reporters. So this kind of writing is known as honorable reporting. What kind of reporting is this? This is honorable reporting. Many where you must be thinking obituary writing is nothing. Like it doesn't carries any kind of weight in the newspaper, but you are wrong. Obituary writing is very important because it shows the honor which we give to a person who has deceased, like who has died. So this kind of writing is done for the person who is no more in this earth with us. So obituary writing is a writing which is known as honorable reporting, where you appreciate, you make that dead person alive through your own words. So it is not a simple thing to make a dead person alive with your word. So to write such kind of such kind of writing is known as obituary writing. A writing where you write about a person who has died, right? So what should be the steps which should be followed for obituary writing? First comes facts about the deceased. Like the person who has died, write about the fact. Suppose the fact should be the name, the age of the person who died, the resident where he or she used to stay. Then comes where he died. That's it. Nothing more than that, like for what cause he has died. You do not need to write about that. So first is the basic fact of that person who is dead, who is no more with us, or who is deceased. The second thing, recounting memories. So what is recounting memories? Recounting memories means writing about that person, about their good thing, like about their memories, what they have done, what is a remarkable thing, what is a memorable thing about that person. Suppose that person had done something for the society, or something for a great for the family, or maybe have given their life for the nation, something like that. Like you will share about the memory, the good memory about that person in the second. So first will be the facts about that person who is no more with us. Second will be the memories of that person. Service schedule, like when the funeral is going to be scheduled. Suppose the funeral which is going to held, maybe suppose on 31st of January. So you should make the people aware on what date it is going to be scheduled, the funeral. when the other people has to arrive, uh, and all these things it should be needed to write. Something, a message for the person who is no more with us. A message can be by the family, or a message can be a prayer from your side, like a prayer for the good living of that soul. So this was obituary writing. So we got to know, but you should remember that obituary, mostly in big mainstream newspapers, obituary are written for the famous personality who leaves the planet, who are no more with us, who dies. So obituary are mostly written in the mainstream newspaper are for those famous personality. But if there is any local paper or something like that, then personal obituary can also come for like normal people. So that was all for today. For the next class, we will know more about media writing. So stay fit, stay healthy. Thank you and have a nice day. And yes, before going, if you like this video, like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Till then, bye bye. Thank you and have a nice day.